Let's talk about the dangers of being a self-taught creative. Well, to be honest, for so long this has been my strength. I remember as a kid just putting on the same song for hours, going over the riffs and the runs, not knowing I was building a whole library of chords, notes, and feels that I use to this day. Now today I write my own music, and I make a living doing live gigs. And the majority of these musicians on these gigs are classically trained musicians. And when I say classically, I just mean they've went to school, they went to university for it. Now, I often can't help but feel left out when they be talking their jargon. You know, they might ask me, hey, we're gonna switch keys. What key are you comfortable singing in? And I have to be like, a higher or a lower one? You know, or maybe they'd be like, hey, could you pick up the fifth on the chord there for the harmonies? And I have to be like, could you play it out? Because I just need to hear it. Now, even through the years, I've built my own processes to help me overcome my lack of knowledge in these situations so I can get the job done. But it doesn't take care of the elephant in the room. That I have to consistently master different tools because I lack in understanding the actual concepts. Now, to frame what I'm talking about, imagine having two different plumbers. Weird example, but work with you here. Plumber A has gone to school and not only has an understanding of the tools that he's using, but he understands why it's done that way and why he uses this particular materials that he uses to get the job done. Plumber B learned from trial and error. Now, through the years of making all those mistakes, he can definitely get the job done. But Plumber B has 3 to 5 tools per one tool of Plumber A, making him slower and less efficient. Now, on the other hand, I've always heard the argument that there's more creative people who haven't gone to school because they haven't been bound and tied down by the rules that have been cemented into them from traditional learning systems. Well, the problem with that statement, although not entirely false, now we're talking about the outliers. These are really the exception to the rule, if anything else. Although inspiring, it's hard to really take things away from people who are outliers. I want to actually talk about tools and things we can do as self-taught creatives that can actually get us to a level where we can make a full-time living doing what we want to do. Now, nothing more than anecdotal evidence, but the majority of animators and musicians that I've had the ability to work with, they've all been traditionally trained. We self-taught creatives, we use tools, we mastered those tools, but we haven't mastered the concepts. In this video, we're gonna talk about 3 things that's gonna get us up to speed performing at our best. Number 1, we don't reverse engineer enough. Now, what most of us don't understand are that those fundamental basics or the theory of our craft is where everything else is built off of. In other words, it takes what would be a complex pattern and allows you to be able to break it down quickly into smaller, less overwhelming ones. It's like trying to multiply large numbers without understanding the concepts, but memorizing the actual answer. It doesn't really work for long-term success. Now, if you ever as a kid had one of those learn to draw books, you would see they would take this complex image and break it down to triangles, squares, and rectangles, really simplifying the processes so you know where everything goes. With the idea of reverse engineering, you might have a particular style that is special and unique towards you, but what happens when you want to collaborate? What happens when you're trying to express yourself or try to maybe update your style or do something different? Now you don't have the actual basic fundamental knowledge of how to take what you do creatively and translate in another way so the feel is still the same or so that your style is still embedded within it. That's why the basics are so fundamental to be able to move from place to place within our creative. As a singer, I have reversed engineered so much. I've sang so many songs, done so many riffs that I am confident showing up to any gig, I can get the job done. I can tell you as a producer though, I have not done enough reverse engineering. I make a lot of happy accidents and I can get within the realm of what I'm trying to do. But as I get better and as my ideas get more complex, I'm now becoming aware that I don't have the tools to always see those things through. Now, I've made it now a weekly mission of mine to replicate songs I enjoy, replicate beats I enjoy, drum patterns, melodies I enjoy, because every time I actually complete something like that, I'm building more tools, I'm seeing more patterns. And especially if you're not gonna go down the theory part, or maybe you just don't have the time at this particular instance, replicating your favorite art and really studying and going in and really trying to figure out why it is what it is can be a great way for you to reverse engineer so that you can get up to speed with your skills. Number 2, We don't enlighten ourselves with enough different concepts that push the barrier of our comfortability to better our crafts. The most beautiful part of being a self-taught creative is that we get to dive into directly what we enjoy to learn, what we enjoy to recreate and create ourselves. The downside of this is that we skip a lot of steps that may be necessary when we reach a level of mastery that we can't move on to our bigger, better ideas because we are lacking in different skills that we might need or we have needed to pick up along the way. As an R&B artist, the language of R&B has been built off disco, gospel, jazz, blues, so many different styles that if I don't even know where it came from, how could I possibly look to push it forward? If you're looking to take your creativity to another level, that might be simply just looking towards another style and just grabbing a tool, grabbing something, an idea from there. That could be all you need to start separating yourself creatively. Number 3, you're too afraid to start at the beginning. Now, a simple analogy here. Imagine you learn to build houses. Now, you build your house, an inspector comes and he's inspecting this house, and right away he tells you that the foundation is no good. Now, this foundation that you have, it might be livable for a while, but it's gonna start producing cracks, and these cracks would eventually allow the house to collapse entirely. Well, in this analogy, you are the house, and that off of foundation is the lack of concepts and knowledge and theory that we need to get our art, our creativity to a level of mastery where we are absolutely free to express it how we want to. Some, like the exceptional pioneers like a Jimi Hendrix, they have revolutionize the way we might set foundation when it comes to learning guitar. But like I said, for the majority of us, that's not gonna be the case. The cracks going through the house, that's every time you get a setback because you're realizing you don't have the fundamentals to be able to go further. The story is that most people quit before reaching any real level of competency because it's too disappointing, it's too discouraging, knowing that they might have to go back to pick up on those basic fundamentals that they missed out on. You have to get comfortable with the idea that you might have to tear down your house to set proper foundation. But listen, setting the proper foundation, you already know how to build houses. So it's not like starting from anew. Once you set that proper foundation, you'll be able to start building up that house much quicker than if somebody would just start for the first time. For myself personally, I just finally got a piano teacher. It is painful feeling like a baby going slowly through the process, but I understand that in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm gonna be so happy that I did it. Because now I'll be able to have a language, I'll be able to have the concepts of how I particularly feel. Just starting, learning, and performing our creativity out of a place of passion and love is an absolute superpower. Now, pairing with the basic fundamentals, now we can really fly and start creating art that moves people. Go create, be great. Peace.